my opinion, there's like 3 types of Elden Ring players. There's the katana wielding, bleed abusing dex players, there's the oinga boinga colossal weapon using strength players, and there's the fucking losers. What's wrong with you people? Magic in Elden Ring is very interesting, especially when compared to how magic works in other FromSoft games, because truth be told, I feel like Elden Ring just accentuated the problems that magic had in other Souls games. Elden Ring players hate magic for a couple of reasons, but I feel like they can all be condensed into 2 main points. Firstly, it's just overpowered. This is a complaint that Souls players have had for years, but it seems to be even more broken in Elden Ring. In both PvP and PvE, a lot of people see using magic builds as playing the game on easy mode, and if we're being for real, you can't really blame them. And secondly is the way that the stats work in regard to magic. Truth be told, this issue isn't as bad or talked about as the overpowered nature of magic, but it's an issue nonetheless. Unlike other Souls games, Elden Ring has 3 different magic-related stats that each offer different things and allow you to spec into different spell types, and this comes with its pros and cons. So in this video I'll be going more in-depth into how magic works, the pros and cons of how it works, and if its hate is justified. So let's get started. Also don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subs before the end of the summer. In Elden Ring there's 2 main types of magical spells, those being sorceries and incantations. Sorceries are tied to the intelligence stat and incantations are tied to the faith stat. There are also draconic incantations that are tied to the arcane stat as well as fate, and arcane is a pretty weird stat in and of itself, so I'll just be talking about that later. So what's the difference between these 2 types of magic? Well, to grossly oversimplify it, sorceries and glintstone magic are related to space and the cosmos and glintstone, if that makes sense. Examples of this would be spells like Glintstone Pebble, Comet Azure, and Ronnie's Dark Moon. They're essentially just attacks that use glintstone or throw planets at people. Incantations, however, are more related to the elements, if that also makes sense. Faith covers like a really wide range of things, to be honest. It uses holy magic, healing magic, buffing magic, and the aforementioned elemental magic like lightning and ice magic. It also uses fire magic, which used to be pyromancy in previous Souls games, which was like a whole other class of magic. And you know what, to be fair to the developers at FromSoft, this is like a really good change. There's no reason why pyromancy has to be a whole different class. If I can use ice and lightning and wind, why can't I just use fire as well? Why does it have to be pyromancy? Come on. While faith does have some good offensive spells, I feel like intelligence and sorcery is the most used type of magic for pure magic builds due to how many overpowered and strong sorceries there are. Faith is also required for the draconic incantations, which are essentially the spells you get from killing dragons. Like this one where you grow a dragon head and start breathing fire. It's pretty cool stuff. And like I mentioned before, draconic incantations also require arcane, which is a pretty weird stat. Okay, so apart from just draconic incantations, arcane is also required for certain sorceries and incantations, and to be honest, I just don't know why. Like, I'm trying to get my intelligence and strength build going, but they want me to level up arcane. Sorry, but I'm just not gonna do that. Like, I guess I won't use Great Oracular Bubble then. My loss, I guess. Arcane also has some other effects that are completely unrelated to magic. It boosts discovery, which used to be controlled by the luck stat in previous Souls games. This means that you have a higher chance of finding items, but like, it's not that big of a difference. It also makes certain effects proc faster, like bleed, poison, and madness. My understanding is that it only does this for weapons that have an arcane stat requirement, so I guess it could be useful depending on the weapon you're running, but like, if you're using an Uchi Katana with bleed, arcane is completely useless to you. I mean, I'm sure there's someone rocking an arcane build screaming at me right now, but I don't really care. Arcane is stupid. Also, who the fuck uses an arcane build? I feel like arcane could have just been luck. That way it keeps the discovery and even the bleed and poison effect buffs, but the stat requirements for certain weapons and spells can just go away. I find it very infuriating that I have to level up a stat that is essentially useless for me, just so I can use 2 or 3 spells that I already have the intelligence or faith requirement for. Anyways, this is all besides the point. Are magic users overpowered? Well, that's a hard question to answer. A lot of people will argue that magic itself isn't overpowered and that it just depends on if the user decides to use overpowered spells and techniques, and this argument makes sense. In the same way a melee player can just make an overpowered bleed build and just spam jump attacks, a magic player can just run away and spam overpowered spells. This argument makes sense and I do kind of agree, but in my opinion there's 2 main differences between magic and melee builds. One is that I just feel like magic users have more overpowered things at their disposal, and 2 is that it's easier for a magic user to take advantage of these overpowered spells and abilities than it is for a melee user to do. Like, let's be for real, at least the people who abuse bleed builds have to go up to the enemy to attack them. Magic users can literally just lay back and run away when a boss or enemy comes too close. So is magic overpowered in PvE? Well, to an extent, yes, but who cares? Or a better question is, why do you care? Realistically, I don't care what someone does in their playthrough of a single player game, because it doesn't affect me at all. When I see people shit on magic users, it just seems so corny to me. It's like they're mad that other people didn't have to struggle as much as they did on a boss. And this isn't a new phenomenon. Since Dark Souls 1, maybe even Demon Souls, people have been looking down on Magic users because in their eyes, Magic users are just playing the game on easy mode. I'm sorry, but bro, just play the game. One of the great things about FromSoft games, and Elden Ring especially, is the massive amount of options and ways in which you can play the game. I'm sorry, but the developers put Comet Azure and Ronnie's Dark Moon in the game for people to use, so I don't understand why people get mad when people use them. To be honest, if we're shitting on anyone for playing the game on easy mode, it should be the people that abuse summons. Like, tell me why every time I look up a guide for a boss, it's just some dude using a sword and a shield with 7 different summons. Like bro, this doesn't tell me how to beat the boss. This doesn't help me. But enough of that side tangent. To wrap it up, I'm just gonna say that if you want to use magic, then use it. Is it kind of overpowered? I mean, yeah, it definitely is, but who cares? The same people complaining about magic builds are the people who abuse bleed builds. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, but just don't throw stones in a glass house. Oh yeah, there's also PvP, and yeah, I don't know. Ever since Dark Souls 3, I just decided to stay away from PvP and FromSoft games, but from talking to friends and people who play the game online, like, magic doesn't seem to be that hard to fight against. I don't want to be mean, but like, you just gotta get good, to be honest. But what do I know? If you disagree, leave a comment down below and I'll probably reply. My exams are over, so I'm gonna be I'm not re-recording this. My exams are over, so I'm gonna try posting regularly again, and I got a couple of videos planned. I got a Nier Automata video, a Fantasy Star Online 2 video, and of course a Devil May Cry video, because that's what gets me subscribers, and it's fucking, where would I be without Devil May Cry videos? And apart from that, I don't really have much to say. I feel like 1K before the end of 2024 is a bit too easy of a goal now, so I'm gonna be like changing that to 1K before the end of the summer, and yeah, hopefully we can hit that. But anyway, as always, this has been your boy Jugo Young, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.